Hello guys, Pocketcraft here, bringing you another fact video. Now, as you can probably tell from the title, in today's video I'm going to be talking about beta designs and changes that Game Freak have made throughout their Pokemon games. I must say, I found some pretty interesting shit while researching for these facts, and hopefully you'll find them interesting as well. Now be sure to grab some popcorn, sit back, relax and enjoy, and without further ado, let's get started. Number 10. Did you know that in Pokemon Red and Blue, that at the beginning of the player's adventure, Professor Oak introduces the player to the world of Pokemon using a sprite that is similar to the battle sprites of other characters. In addition to this, he also has 3 full teams of Pokemon programmed into the game, each consisting of a level 66 Taurus, a level 67 Executor, a level 68 Arcanine, a level 70 Gyarados, and the final evolutionary stage of the starter Pokemon you selected at level 69. His Pokemon are actually of an even higher level than those of Blue when you face him as the champion, possibly suggesting that at one point Oak was intended to be faced later on in the game. Number 9. In the original Gold and Silver versions, one of the most complete prototype maps found in their internal data is a rough version of the Safari Zone. Surprisingly enough, it has several of its attributes defined, such as the music, connections to Fuchsia City, and even wild Pokemon encountered by fishing in a small pool in the area, which other prototype maps don't have. The Safari Zone also appears in the internal list of Pokegear map locations, along with Viridian Forest, Cerulean Cave, and Pokemon Mansion. Speaking of Pokemon Mansion, full maps without events were programmed as well for the Pokemon Lab in Cinnabar Island, indicating that Cinnabar Island was originally planned to make an appearance in the Gen 2 games without the erupted volcano. Number 8. Several text strings refer to an item known as Sweet Honey, suggesting that honey was originally planned for the Generation 2 games. However, it didn't actually make its debut until Generation 4 in Diamond and Pearl. The text strings in Gold and Silver regarding Sweet Honey were as follows. Number 7. Again in Gold and Silver, there's an unused battle data for Cal, the default opponent at the trainer house in Viridian City. There are 2 parties, one with the initial evolutionary stages of the Johto starter Pokemon, and one with their second evolutionary stages. Because the trainer house in Viridian City cannot be accessed legally until much later in the player's adventure, it is unknown what purpose these parties would have served. Possibly, there were more trainer houses intended to be programmed earlier into the games, or maybe he was meant to be a secondary rival. Who knows? Number 6. In the Ruby and Sapphire games, some of the early screenshots displayed roofs of Pokemarts coloured red instead of blue. Not only that, the HP bar was also different from the final releases. Some prototype sprites for several Pokemon were also shown, including Shroomish, Duskull, Wheelmer, Wynaut, and Sharpedo. Number 5. In Ruby and Sapphire's internal data, there's a weather effect for snowing that looks rather incomplete, as it only has 3 snowflakes falling at once. Seeing this, it seems like it was originally going to be used in the final release of the game. A likely location for using this would be Mount Chimney, as it may have originally been planned to be a snowy mountain rather than that of a volcano. The only way of activating this weather effect is by modifying the weather header for a certain map in the game ROM. Number 4. It seems as though wild double battles were planned for the Generation 3 games in addition to the double battles against trainers. This is evidenced by a specific text string found in the internal game data. This mechanic would later be introduced in the Gen 4 games. Number 3. Pokemon Sapphire contains some unused trainer data for Archie, the leader of Team Aqua. According to the data, He was planned to be battled at some point, where his team consisted of a level 17 Togetic with no other Pokemon present at the time. He is also carrying 2 Super Potions. This could indicate that Archie was originally planned to be encountered earlier in the game and was intended to appear with a drastically different sort of team. Following the last fact, an unused sprite for a member of Team Aqua exists in the internal data for Pokemon Sapphire and is identical to that of a male Team Aqua grunt, with the exception of a mirrored body, modified coloration, the addition of a moustache, and a bandana around the grunt's left arm. Now personally, I think coupled with the previous fact, Game Freak may have intended us to face a young Archie, possibly through the use of time travel, or maybe just a flashback. Nevertheless, it's rather interesting to speculate what was originally planned to happen during the Gen 3 games. Number 1. In a Nintendo Power interview, it was revealed that Shellos and Gastrodon were originally planned for Generation 3 instead of Generation 4. This is evidenced by a piece of internal data in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, which reveals a back sprite for both Pokemon, but no front sprite. Shellos' sprite is pink, like its West Sea variation, and seems to combine the West Sea variation's head with the East Sea variation's body, while Gastrodon's sprite is brown and looks like its West Sea variation, but with more of a rock-like protrusion on its body. Now, not only Gastrodon's design was changed, there were also numerous changes to Pokemon included in the Gen 3 games. A prototype of Torchic was nearly identical to the final design, aside from large floppy ears. There was another design that shows it inside what appears to be an eggshell with lots of fluff around its neck. Another very strange design depicted a creature with the combined elements of both Latias and Blaziken, along with an unused trainer. Concept art for Trico also showed numerous designs for the Pokemon before the final design was decided. Groudon also had an earlier design where it had a different shape to its eyes, one more set of spikes on the torso and one less spike on its tail. Overall, shapes were much less sharp, and Groudon's signature body markings were absent from the initial design concept. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. As always, be sure to comment, rate and subscribe if you liked it. And if you have any ideas for future videos, or just general facts of your own, just hit me up with a personal message or drop a comment below. I always look forward to reading them. Alright guys, until next time, see you later.